PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down every single game in the Vegas Golden Knights season, we're going to be breaking down the most recent matchup that happened at T-Mobile Arena at the Fortress here in Las Vegas, the sports and entertainment capital of the world. And we're going to be talking about the most recent matchup. And, this is a good back and forth. I mean, you got two teams right now. One team that's, heating up right now, battling some good momentum, trying to make a playoff push. And then you have your Vegas Golden Knights, who are right now kind of in the heat of the Pacific Division, battling right now with Vancouver, Edmonton, LA a little bit. But when it comes to this, go to PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media, and check out all the content we have on the network. Go to the website and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at PR Connections, as it helps out the network. You also want to go to our social media platforms. We are everywhere at Vegas Hockey Hub on all social media platforms. If you want to follow your host, I am on all social media platforms as well at Ian J. Rachiele. So, really interesting game. There was a lot of ups and downs, some good twists that happened here with your Vegas Golden Knights. And, when it comes to Vegas, there has been some ups and downs. And unfortunately for Vegas, this is another situation where, you win one, you lose one, you win one, you lose one. It feels like that's been the story of this season, but we'll break everything down. Now, during the pregame notes, Shea Theodore is back. So great news for the Vegas Golden Knights. Shea Theodore wearing the normal jersey in practice, skating around with the team. And then it was announced that he would be back in the starting lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights. So Shea Theodore, who's been out for a while now, he has missed a good amount of games. Well, good news for Vegas. He is back. He's going to be skating alongside Brayden McNabb on the second defensive pairing. And it's going to be great seeing Shea back. Now, no disrespect to Kaden Korczak, no disrespect to Braden Bahal, no disrespect to Daniil Myromanov, no disrespect to any of the defensemen who've come in and stepped into that role while Shea Theodore was hurt. But Shea Theodore is Shea Theodore. I mean, he's one of the most underrated defensemen in the NHL. I mean, this is Shea Theodore who's been undervalued and doesn't even get paid what he is really worth with the Vegas Golden Knights. And for Shea Theodore, for him coming back, you are going to see a defense that is going to be completely different than what you have seen the past 2 months. So Shea Theodore coming back for your Vegas Golden Knights, that is a really good situation for Vegas. And, the fact that Shea Theodore actually came back in this game, even had an assist on one of the later goals that we will talk about here on the show. So Shea Theodore, it's a good welcome back to Shea. So, yeah, Shea Theodore, he's back for your Vegas Golden Knights. He is back in the starting lineup, and he is a very welcome by the Vegas Golden Knights at T-Mobile Arena. So, overall, really good move there. Overall, very good there to see Shea Theodore make his return for your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the other roster move that happened here in the pregame notes is that there was a person who got sent up and there was a person who was sent down here in this organization, as Gregory Diansenko, the AHL All-Star from the Henderson Silver Knights, he has been called up for the second time this season, and Jonas Roundberg has been sent down to Henderson. So let's start out with Diansenko, this guy who's done absolutely incredible for Henderson, one of the bright spots on this team this year. He had a cup of coffee earlier in January. He was with the Golden Knights. He played a couple of games, and then he was sent back down to Henderson to play for almost an entire month. So good for him. He is now back in the NHL. In fact, he would be on the third line. We'll go to the starting lineup later. But him being on the third line for Vegas, and Diansenko, he is someone who can shoot the puck. He's a good goal scorer and someone who can score points in the AHL. As for Giannis Roundbeer, this has been the story of his career. Really over the last 3 seasons, he keeps on getting sent up and sent down between Vegas and Henderson. This has kind of been the same old song and dance, the same ritual for Giannis Roundbeer out here in Henderson and then Vegas down to Henderson. So this has nothing to do with what he has done this year in terms of talent, in terms of stats. This is simply just because he is waiver exempt, because he's on a 2-way deal. Vegas can pretty much use him as just sending him up and sending him down over and over and over again. So, yeah, Giannis Roundbeer, once again, going down to the Henderson Silver Knights. This is something that we see all the time over the last 3 seasons. Nothing shocking, nothing new there. And, hopefully this is not something that's going to be a long-term situation. Obviously, with William Carrier, with Jack Eichel, all those guys who are currently out with the situation. Pavel Dorofeev, he's still not back after what happened to him in the New York Rangers game. So when it comes to the roster moves here, it just felt like it was just a one-for-one deal. They wanted to call up Diansenko because of what he's been doing in Henderson. Think he could be a good guy in the lineup. Roundbeard, because of his waiver exempt, him being on a 2-way deal, they can keep sending him up and down as long as he has that waiver exempt kind of situation there. So it's just nothing personal. It just seems like this was all business. They just had to call somebody up from the roster and send somebody down from said roster. So, yeah, your Vegas Golden Knights making a pair of roster moves corresponding with each other. And that would be good there for your Vegas Golden Knights as they're going to take on the Nashville Predators here at T-Mobile Arena. Now, in net for your Vegas Golden Knights, Adin Hill. So after Logan Thompson had an incredible shutout against San Jose, Adin Hill would come in, be in net for Vegas, and he would actually be in the crease once again. Now, his most recent matchup that he did was against Carolina, and unfortunately for Adin Hill, he got rocked in that game, and that was just unfortunate for Adin Hill. Hopefully, he could shake that off. His confidence could kind of rebound in a game against Nashville. And Adin Hill has been a tale of kind of two tales here. When he first came back from injury, his first 4 games was excellent for the Vegas Golden Knights. He came back against the New York Islanders. He did incredible. And then he goes up and he takes on teams like the New York Rangers. He goes up against teams like Edmonton. He knocks it out of the park. Adin Hill did incredible when he first got back. His most recent performance against Carolina, not so much. We'll see how he does in this game. And then before breaking down the game itself, getting into the starting lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights. So line 1, Ivan Barbashev, Nick Waugh, and Jonathan Marchessault. The same kind of lineup we have had for the past month since the Jack Eichel injury that happened in Boston. We have seen the chemistry of Ivan Barbashev, Nick Waugh, and Jonathan Marchessault. They have actually had some of the best line chemistry that the Vegas Golden Knights have had this season. Ivan Barbashev and Jonathan Marchessault have gelled really well with your Vegas Golden Knights. So Barbashev and Marchessault, that is a good combination there. The chemistry between those two. And with Nick Waugh, he has really shown up as of being a top 6 center, being someone who could be a 1C or a 2C with your Vegas Golden Knights, showing that he's not just a 4th-line center like he's been for majority of his time. On line 2, you have Chandler Stevenson, William Karlsson, and your captain on that line. Now, we're used to having Stevenson and your captain on line 2, but William Karlsson being on the second line is a bit of a change. Now, William Karlsson has kind of been floating in between line 2 and line 3 throughout the season. But considering how William Karlsson has done so far with 17 goals on the year, Chandler Stevenson is a productive guy you can have in the lineup. And then you have your captain, who's a leader in the locker room, somebody who the Vegas Golden Knights need to count on moving forward. It made a lot of sense for William Karlsson to be on the second line and helping out Stevenson and Stone in that situation there. But yeah, line 2, really effective for Vegas. We like what we see on that second line, kind of finishing off that top 6 with your Vegas Golden Knights. So Stevenson, Karlsson, and Stone. Line 3 is kind of a new combination here. Paul Cotter, Brett Howden, and Gregory Diansenko. So Diansenko, who we talked about in the pregame notes, he was called up from Henderson. Paul Cotter sent down from the second line to the third line. And then Brett Howden, who has kind of been everywhere this season. He was on the second line with Stevenson and Stone most recently. Then he's on the third line. He's on the fourth line. Now he's back on the third line. So, yeah, Brett Howden has kind of been an interesting tale of just being, kind of these weird parts of just floating around, being adjusted, going from section to section, going from line to line to line. And that's what Brett Howden has really done this season. So, Brett Howden, Paul Cotter, and Gregory Diansenko would be on line 3 for your Vegas Golden Knights. Would be interesting to see how Diansenko would perform against Nashville in his return to the NHL. Like I said, he's been down in Henderson for the past month. And on your fourth line is a very unique combination as Mason Morelli, who had his NHL debut and his first NHL goal against San Jose. You have Michael Amadio back on the fourth line for the first time in forever, and Keegan Kolesar, who has been a fourth line stable and a constant on the fourth line for Vegas. So Keegan Kolesar, him doing what he's supposed to do on the fourth line, being that type of player. Mason Morelli, who has been on the fourth line since he got called up in his second game with Vegas, someone who once again had his NHL debut recently and scored his first career NHL goal in his NHL debut against San Jose. And then Michael Amadio is a surprise. Now, I'm going to be honest, and this is not me being a host, it's me being a fan. I'm kind of shocked that they had Brett Howden over Amadio. But I guess considering the center matchup, that's probably why they did it. But yeah, overall, very surprised that that was the decision there. So Brett Howden on the third line center, Michael Amadio fourth line center. I would have swapped it personally, but hey, Bruce Cassidy gets paid the big bucks and is one of the best coaches in the NHL right now. So when it came to the lines, once again, just to recap this, first line, Barbashev, Watt, Marchessault. Second line, Stevenson, Carlson, Stone. Third line, Cotter, Howden, Diansenko. Fourth line, Morelli, Amadio, and Kolesar. Now, your defensive pairings, now back once again with one guy in the lineup. Your defensive pairings was Martinez and Pietrangelo, defensive pairing 1. McNabb and Theodore, defensive pairing 2. And McNabb and Haig and Whitecloud, defensive pairing 3, with Aiden Hill being in net. Now, to begin the game at the Fortress, Nashville versus the Vegas Golden Knights. 5 minutes in, unfortunately, the Vegas Golden Knights would go down 1-0 in this situation. So the Vegas Golden Knights, they would go down by 1. Unfortunately, Aiden Hill just got beat on this play. Nice setup by Roman Josi, by the way, when it came to this play. Unfortunately, the Nashville Predators, they just took care of business early on. They just set up the tone, and they really made sure that the beginning of this game, Nashville was setting the foundation, the offensive zone, their quickness, getting down there, using some aggression. That's what Nashville was doing good in this game against Vegas. And it really took a while for Vegas to kind of catch up to what Nashville was doing. And more importantly, when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights, it seemed like they were just not catching up to the same aggression at the beginning of the game. Now, a few minutes later, after this goal, Keegan Kolesar would go to the box for the Vegas Golden Knights as he would get a holding penalty. So the Vegas Golden Knights would be on the penalty kill, and they would kill off this penalty against the Vegas Golden Knights. So they would be 1-for-1 on the penalty kill. And then about 2 minutes later, the Vegas Golden Knights would get their first power play opportunity as Nick Hague had a hooking penalty against him. Unfortunately for the Vegas Golden Knights, they would not capitalize on this, and they did not get a power play goal. So it was 0-for-1 on the power 0-for-1 on the power play and 1-for-1 on the penalty kill. But no worry for Vegas, because about 4 minutes later, Alex Pietrangelo, with his third goal of the season, assisted by Alec Martinez and Chandler Stevenson, to tie up the game at 1 for your Vegas Golden Knights. So Alex Pietrangelo, good job here on this play. Alec Martinez with a good setup on this situation. Chandler Stevenson, nice assist here on this goal here. Now, Alex Pietrangelo, not very known for scoring that many goals, but Alec Martinez with a good setup, that's something that we have seen in the past very often. So Alex Pietrangelo, only his 3rd goal of the season for your Vegas Golden Knights. And because Vegas would be tied at 1 against Nashville with about halfway into the first period, that would open up the momentum and hopefully build for a good future game for your Vegas Golden Knights. So, yeah, once again, Vegas would be tied at 1 with Nashville thanks to a goal from Alex Pietrangelo with a good setup from Alec Martinez. This would be a tie game here. And then, unfortunately, a minute left in the first period, a former Vegas Golden Knight would get on the board for Nashville as 2017 first-round pick Cody Glass with his only 2nd goal of the season, assisted by Roman Josi, his 2nd assist of the game for Nashville. And that put the Predators up 2-1 at the end of the first period. And unfortunately, Cody Glass scoring against Vegas. Now, we have seen this in the past where former Vegas Golden Knights score against Vegas. And unfortunately, Cody Glass just became that. Now, Vegas Golden Knights organization, Vegas Golden Knights fans, you are all very familiar with Cody Glass. He was the first ever draft pick in Golden Knights history. He didn't really pan out here. Unfortunately, it happens. But he came to Nashville. He is a middle 6 forward right now with the Predators organization. So 2nd goal this season for former first-round pick in Vegas, Cody Glass. And at the end of the first period, there would actually be an interference penalty against William Karlsson. Surprisingly, like 10 seconds left in the first period, William Karlsson would have the interference penalty called because of him. So the Vegas Golden Knights would get on the power play to begin the second period. Unfortunately, Vegas would not capitalize on this, and they would actually be 0 for 2 on the power play. Now, before we actually break down the rest of the second period, I do have to mention this because it did happen. Keegan Kolesar and William Karlsson both went down the tunnel in the second period. Now, we do not know officially if there was any injuries. We don't know if it was just a wardrobe malfunction, if there was a stick, if there was improper equipment, whatever it was. But Keegan Kolesar, he went down the tunnel to begin the second period. William Karlsson, he also went down the tunnel. He wasn't on the bench for a little bit during the game. So this will kind of have to be a follow-up. We're going to have to make sure what happens here with these two. But Keegan Kolesar going down the tunnel and then William Karlsson going down the tunnel, that was an unfortunate situation to see, not having both of them on the bench for Vegas when it came to that situation there. And for William Karlsson, considering that he actually got hurt recently and just came back as a couple of games ago, that's why it's a big deal for William Karlsson. Hopefully he does not miss any time, and hopefully it was just a minor situation, or once again, maybe just a equipment situation where he had to get a new blade or he had to get something done with his skates or something like that. We've seen it happen before in the NHL. It's not unreasonable to think so. So as Keegan Kolesar and William Karlsson went down the tunnel to begin the second period, Michael Amadio would get a hooking penalty, and this would actually create another opportunity for Nashville to get on the board. But your Vegas Golden Knights would actually not allow it to happen, as they would be 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. But unfortunately, halfway into the second period, Tommy Novak with his 12th goal of the season, assisted by Alexander Carrier and Ryan McDonough, to make it a 3-1 game for Nashville. And, when it comes to the Nashville Predators, this is something that they're very good at doing. That's passing the puck around, getting it to the open guy, regardless if it's in the center circle, high slot, in the area near the crease. It doesn't matter about any of that. The Nashville Predators have gotten really good at getting the puck in the back of the net. And this is one of those plays that kind of demonstrated that for the Vegas Golden Knights there. So Nashville would be up by 2 in the middle of the second period. And then after a Colton Sissons tripping penalty against Paul Cotter, and then a Chandler Stevenson cross-checking penalty, both of these power plays would be worn off. So the Vegas Golden Knights would be 0-4-3 on the power play, but they would be 3-4-3 on the penalty kill. So special teams is kind of weird for Vegas in this game. The fact that they did great on the penalty kill, but did not do as well on the power play, unfortunately, there. Now, the Nashville Predators would actually extend the lead here, and unfortunately would cause a problem for the Vegas Golden Knights. As 5 minutes left in the second period, Cole Smith with his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Kiefer Sherwood and Michael McCarron to be a 4-1 game. And, Nashville really just was opening up in the second period. This was a bad second period for the Vegas Golden Knights. Nashville just outperformed them. They were out aggression. They were aggressive. They were hustling. They were good in the offensive zone, solid in the defensive zone. Nashville just really took care of business in the second period, and your Vegas Golden Knights just simply did not do it in the second period. So Vegas Golden Knights being down 4-1 in the end of the second period. Now, the only positive I can really say about the second period is once again the penalty kill for Vegas, because they gave Nashville 2 opportunities to score, and they did not capitalize on those. So overall, your Vegas Golden Knights, I have to applaud them for their penalty kill. That's pretty much the only positive I can think of in the second period. Now, moving over to the third period, William Karlsson getting back on the ice, King Kolazar going back to the bench. That was good for Vegas. And then 1 minute in the third period, who else but William Karlsson with his 18th goal of the season, assisted by Nick Waugh and Shea Theodore. Welcome back, Shea. As your Vegas Golden Knights would kind of get the lead down to 2 in this situation. So for William Karlsson, once again, keeping up a really good season for Vegas. Kind of a little bit of a turnaround, a comeback of sorts for William Karlsson. So I like what we're seeing from him. And this is just a situation where William Karlsson has really become a really good player once again for Vegas, solidifying himself on the second-line center, third-line center territory with your Vegas Golden Knights. And as we were getting towards the middle of the third period, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Nashville Predators, this actually would have only 1 penalty in the third period, and that'd be a Jonathan Marchessault high-sticking penalty against Nashville. So Jonathan Marchessault would go to the box, but there would be no score for the Nashville Predators. So once again, 4 for 4 on the penalty kill for Vegas. So I have to applaud the penalty kill for doing what they had to do. I have to give credit for doing a fantastic job at killing off every single penalty in this game. But if you're watching this video and you've gotten here long enough, you probably want to know what I'm about to say next. Because anyone who watched the broadcast or anyone who watched the telecast, you know what happened in the middle of the third period. You know what a lot of Golden Knights fans are hoping is not worst case scenario. And of course, I am talking about his injury right now. So when it came to Trennan and Stone's hit in the neutral zone near center ice, it did not look that bad when you actually watched it in real time. It just seemed like a normal hit. But then when you break it down and you actually slow it down and you look at the contact and actually see how he got hit, it could be a question mark here. And on Vegas Hockey Hub, we are not going to speculate. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Mark Stone, he'll be back next game, no problem. We're not going to do that here. All we're going to do is tell you that he got an injury in the middle of the third period. And if Mark Stone comes back, great. If Mark Stone is out for a while, all right. Hopefully he's not out. Hopefully he's not out for much longer. But when you see a guy who gets hurt like that, it just really makes you wonder how long guy's going to be out for. So, yeah, just talking about this injury real quick. Obviously, this is what a lot of people are going to want to talk about. I get it. But with Mark Stone, him getting injured, it's just a situation where it didn't look bad in real time. But then when you slow it down, it does make it look a bit worse than when it was in real time. And considering that Mark Stone has had injury problems in the past before, it's something that we're going to have to watch out for as Golden Knights fans. So that's just something that we're really going to have to watch on. It's something that we're going to obviously take a very good look at in the upcoming future. Now, obviously, by the Toronto game, we should get some information on Mark Stone's injury, and that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that by the Toronto game, Mark Stone will find out some information, what has happened to him. But yeah, the Mark Stone injury, very unfortunate there. And then with about 3 minutes left in the third period, Michael Amadio, 9th goal of the season, assisted by Alec Martinez and Ivan Barbashev to be a 4-3 game for Nashville. And Michael Amadio, him doing what he had to do in this game, and that is get on the board on the fourth line. And I have to say, good execution by Alec Martinez, his second assist of the game. He had that original assist on the Alex Pietrangelo goal to kick off the game. And just like that, your Vegas Golden Knights, with about 2 minutes left in the game, would be down by 1 at T-Mobile Arena at the Fortress. And this would lead to an empty net situation for Vegas. And unfortunately for Vegas, and fortunately for Nashville, they would actually execute here as Gustav Nyquist with his 13th goal of the season. Nashville would be up by 2 based on the empty netter, and that would create a loss for Vegas. So unfortunately, the former Columbus Blue Jacket, he now in Nashville, he would get the game winner. He would send everybody home disappointed. And that create the opportunity there for the Vegas Golden Knights to pick up the loss. Now, player of the game will go to Alex Pietrangelo, not just because of the opening goal that he had in this game, but more importantly, because of what he did in his performance tonight. Alex Pietrangelo, if you actually study his stats in this game, 1 blocked shot, 2 takeaways for Vegas, and this is somebody who played well over 24 minutes in this game. He was a workhorse. He had more time on ice than anybody in this game. So Alex Pietrangelo, player of the game against Nashville today. And what can I say except just a really bad game for Vegas? Now, injuries aside, because of Kozar, because of Carlson going down the bench, we're going to have to find that out later. Mark Stone, his collision in the neutral zone by Trennan, we're going to have to find out a lot more about that in the future. We'll probably get an update soon. But this is really a sloppy game by Vegas. This is very reminiscent of the Carolina game just a week ago, where the Vegas Golden Knights were outplayed, they were out-hustled, and they were outgunned in the offensive zone throughout this entire game. And the Vegas Golden Knights just really looked like they were kind of stale at some points in this game. And it was really a hard game to watch at times. Now, this is the win-loss record for your Vegas Golden Knights in this game. And right now, battling with Edmonton, battling with LA, Vancouver kind of slowly pulling away in the Pacific Division lead. And, it's similar like the Formula One race. It's similar to, if you're a Ferrari fan like myself, watching a Ferrari team, you have Red Bull right up here. That's Vancouver. You have Vegas. That's Ferrari. And then you have, Mercedes and Aston Martin and McLaren. All these teams left in the Pacific Division trying to get a playoff spot at this place in time. Anyway, so this is our Vegas Hockey Hub recap show talking about Nashville versus Vegas. And this was our Vegas Hockey Hub recap show. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.